Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live weekly chat, or should I say not Royal Reviewer live weekly chat, because this is actually Talk of the Crown, which is my rebranded show. I need to get used to saying that. It's Talk of the Crown episode 2. Last week was the inaugural episode. For those of you who didn't see last week's chat, it's basically exactly the same as all the other chats I've done, but I've just renamed it. It's called Talk of the Crown. I felt like these live chats really needed a name of their own. So without further ado, I'm going to go and find the pre-loaded chat window to see who is here. Last week we had a fantastic crowd. I think we had over 80 people in at any one time, possibly even more. I have Nina, I have Vinny, I have Bay, I have Candice, David is in. And sorry if I'm not reading any of your comments if you typed them in early. Duchess of Cambridge is in, Donna's in, Odear is in, Ingrid is in, Annette is in, and Christine. Hello to you all, and Jennifer, and the first Mrs. R. And I hope I haven't missed anyone else, and James Med4. So I hope you've all had a really voluptuous royal week. I know I have. Now I'm going to toggle on down to the bottom of the chat so that we can start. Loads of people saying, Happy St. Patrick's Day. Yes, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody, which is why I'm wearing the green sash. It is in honour of St. Patrick's Day. Ingrid says, did I have my corned beef and cabbage yet? No, I have not had corned beef and cabbage. Christine says, I look smashing. Thank you. And oh dear says, snappy. Annette says, great sash. John C. is from Jacksonville in Florida. Candice says, wow, you look amazing. I made the effort this week. I did make an effort. You see, some weeks I make more effort than others, but this was a effort week. I even have tiara, for those of you who can't see the top of my head, and flat hair. I have flat hair so that you can possibly even see the tiara. I am wearing the Buckingham Palace Star brooch, which is a replica of the Queen's very own. I'm wearing a box bow by Dawn. She gets a shout out every week, and a little green brooch, which is, I think it's an American, a North American, kind of barefoot, or could it be Canadian? I'm not entirely sure. But it's got like a little green kind of stone in the middle, which I thought was quite appropriate for St. Patrick's Day. Dawn says, love the sash. And hello to H.A. Bracken, who's just come. Vinny Blair says, today you look more regal than the Queen herself. Thank you so much. I hope the Queen is watching. And some of you were here an hour ago and had to come back. Oh, you've had a time difference change. See, ours isn't yet. So I'm still on my own time, but I'm sure it'll even out and we will catch up. H.A. Bracken says, where's the Earl of Wessex been? Well, he didn't go to the Commonwealth Day service, but not all royals go every single year. He's probably had some prior engagement elsewhere, although there haven't been any engagements photos that have actually come up to show you, so it's probably work behind the scenes. Annette says, just caught the tiara, fancy digs, thank you so much. Greg S says, happy St. Patrick's Day from Houston in Texas. Odear says, well, we have lots of bears this time of year. Would you like one? I would love a bear. Thank you so much. I've done the hellos and the welcomes. I would just like to say a big thank you, actually, to our resident moderator, Jamie. And I will wait until Jamie is in. Jamie, are you in? I will get to you a little bit later. But we do have a resident moderator. So just to go through a few rules, if you're new to this chat show, basically, you can say whatever you want. I believe in freedom of speech. But if you have something negative to say, just say it once and then move on. And of course, respect one and all in the chat room. And that's basically our rules. And we basically have fun every single week. I was also this week going to trial a 60-second comment rule, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I will try it next week, where you can probably just about comment maybe once every minute, and that kind of gives me a chance to catch up with the comments. But I will do that from next week, so don't worry about that. And we'll see how that goes. Hello to Caroline N, who is in the UK tonight. Wow, where in the UK are you tonight? Sandy says, I look amazing and love all the accessories. And Nora Cherry is here from Saskatoon in South. Okay, I'm going to have to say this. Saskatchewan, Canada. Did I say that correct? Good evening to Diamond and A. And Bay is in East Tennessee. And Odia is on Vancouver Island. Okay, so let me go straight to one of the big days of this week, which of course was the Royals at the Commonwealth Day 2018 service ceremony, whichever you want to call it. But it was a big celebration, whichever way you want to look at it. And all of the senior royals arrived in, of course, the order of precedence, and then, of course, on the way in, it's the reverse order of precedence, and on the way out, it's the order of precedence. And those of you may have noticed that Meghan was kind of elevated in a way, kind of informally, to the fifth lady in the land, I think it was, if I count my spaces correctly, because as Prince Harry's guest, as his companion, she was actually above in the leaving rank, higher than born princesses and royals that have been established royals for many, many years. So Meghan, being with Prince Harry has kind of elevated her even before she's married into the royal family. And of course, I think we have seen a little bit of a change because the royals didn't have to have Meghan sat with them. They didn't have to have her leaving at the same time. I think what the seed change has been is the manners, and I suppose in a way the dropping of the protocol, if indeed there was a protocol to begin with, because I think it would have just seemed quite rude and impolite and definitely not in touch with modern society if they'd have made Meghan sit, with the rest of the congregation rather than with the royal family. So I think even though she hasn't married in yet, of course, fiance does count for something, but she's not a member of the family yet. But they still made an exception. They broke protocol, if indeed that kind of protocol ever did exist anyway. And of course, it just goes to show that they can modernize and they can change things as and when they want to suit the ever-changing public mood. And I think that was really, really lovely and touching to see Meghan walking with Harry at the same event as the Queen, which was amazing. And of course, the ceremony itself, the service, was lovely. Some people were questioning having the cultural dancers outside to greet them. I thought that was lovely. The people of those nations are showing off what, their cultural heritage. I think that's really important. The whole thing about the Commonwealth is that it's the sharing of different nationalities and cultures, and the Commonwealth service brings all those together, which I thought it was done beautifully. Let me know your thoughts on that. Lots of people saying that Meghan's fashion was really on point. Lady Buckingham, Dawn, says, I wonder what Andrew thought about Meghan being elevated since he wants his girls to have a role and it's not happening. Well, I'm sure, like I said, for many chats, probably going back a year and a half, I think that Prince Andrew's daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, the blood princesses of the UK, will eventually find a role once the older members of the family, the old guard, are gone, and that work needs to be shared out. I think there will be a deficit of work, and that is when they will come into their own, and I think they will be used effectively by Charles or indeed by William at the time, whoever is king at the time when that problem arises. Vinnie Blair says, actually, isn't Meghan Markle fourth lady until Charlotte is of age? Well, let's count, shall we? So we've got the Queen, then we've got the Duchess of Cornwall, and then we've got the Duchess of Cambridge, then we have Charlotte. Now, there is some debate whether you would probably count Charlotte or not. You are totally correct in saying she isn't of age, but in, I suppose, ladies of the land, I want to count her. I kind of feel like I think we should count Charlotte because you know, she is still that rank and status as a born blood princess. And then, of course, we have Meghan. So I'm going to stick with fifth, although you could argue and you could debate whether to count Charlotte or not. But I will leave that up to you. But I'm counting Charlotte. Gabriella says she looked great, and I think you're talking about Meghan Markle, and she seems to love the work, as does the Duchess of Cambridge. Of course, Prince Philip was not at the event. He has retired from royal duties, and this is one that he has decided he's going to include in his retirement. Arnold Sanders says, how do they know if Harry won't sign a prenup? Well, basically, it's not particularly done in this country. I think that prenups are way more popular in America and other parts of the world. In fact, I don't even think that a prenup is actually legally recognised in the UK. Some people do sign them, and some courts, if ever they come up, may decide to go with the outcome of that prenup as an intent, but I don't think they actually form any basis in UK law. I'm sure some people will correct me if I'm wrong, but the last time I heard that they didn't. So I don't think that Prince Harry will sign a prenup. And anyway, Meghan Markle is independently wealthy in her own right. I don't think she kind of needs to fleece Prince Harry. Nina says, I noticed Andrew stepped back. Yes, because obviously, you know, as the future partner of Prince Harry, you know, Meghan, I think she should be by his side. Okay, now let me go up a little bit because I think I've missed a few questions. If I do miss any questions and it was really important, please do retype. The first Mrs. R says, I thought Meghan looked great. You can see the small tweaks that are making her look more royal. I have to admit, though, I'm not a fan of her berets. Well, love the beret or not, I agree with you with the fact that small tweaks have been made. And I think that's probably because this is a set piece royal event and one that's very important to the Queen. I think Meghan has had help with the look that she wore on Commonwealth Day. I think all the other looks that she's worn when she's been out with Harry have been her own efforts. I think she's probably done her own hair. She's probably chosen her own outfits and styling and all the rest of it. But I think on this occasion, it looks to me like she had a little help. I think her hair was done professionally, her makeup was done professionally, and her clothes looked like they had been really thought out, well planned and chosen, possibly by someone who knows what they're doing, maybe even Catherine. I mean, it's not without the realm of possibility that Catherine lent her well-trained eye after all these years of royal life and actually helped Meghan to put together an outfit that really worked for that type of event. I'm not saying Meghan doesn't look fantastic normally, but these certain types of royal events require a certain type of dressing. And of course, Catherine knows that inside out. So she will have been a wealth of information and go-to knowledge for Meghan. And Catherine's made it quite clear, I think, publicly, that they both get on. So I see no reason why the help couldn't actually have been Catherine. Although I do think professional makeup and professional hair was used. Oh dear says, pick daffodils this week. How are mine? Mine are still coming through the ground. So I have no yellow daffodils yet, but you can buy them in the shops in the UK. Dawn says, you probably didn't have a choice because Harry was there. Andrew was stepping back for Harry, not Meghan. Yes, I would agree, because obviously Meghan was the partner of Harry. And because they were together and not separated, Andrew would have made way for Harry. Oh dear, loved the beret on Meghan. Really suits. I get it, suits her. Caroline N says, got to go, you're so tired. Well, you can always watch on catch up. And this chat now does show up on the replay, on the catch up. So you can now see all the comments, which is great. Linda P. Golan says, has anyone seen the articles on that book about Charles? It doesn't look good. I've seen little snippets of gossip about it, and I haven't looked into the gossip yet. I'm saving that for later. James Medford says, Charlotte counts because she isn't in line for the throne. To me, it definitely counts. I don't think the coming of age thing really matters. You know, she is a blood princess by birth. She's in line to the succession, and therefore I most certainly count her. Ingrid says, I really liked all Meghan Markle's outfits, but I think she should dress more original and not to copy Kate. I don't think she's necessarily copying Catherine. I mean, let's not forget, we do have, you know, a fashion out there. So when you're going to these go-to sorts of events, that type of fashion is going to crop up time and time again. It's very, very difficult when you're that level of public life, and you also have to dress practically for these events to find something that's very, very different. I think what we did see very different about Meghan a few weeks ago was the emergence of the trouser or pantsuit. We call them trouser suits. But these trouser suits, Meghan, I think, is going to probably make her own. Catherine definitely stays away from wearing trousers or pants, as some of you guys say. But I think Meghan will not shy away from that. And I think that's going to be her go-to signature look. But we will have to wait and see. Let me know what you think on what her signature look might be. All right, and I think I've definitely missed some questions again. Odia says it's tough to enforce a prenup in Canada too. I'm pretty sure in the UK prenups are not actually recognised legally, although some partners who have them may decide to go with them as part of a settlement. I think that's pretty much how it works. Anyway, the first bizarre says, I would count Charlotte. Not to be grim, but if something tragic happened, she would still become queen despite her age. Yes, that is most definitely true. Nina says, okay, thank you. It's hard to understand the rules because I'm not English. Don't worry, we are all here to learn together. And there are some things I don't know. There are some things I forget. There are some things that are at the back of my mind, and I have no idea how they even got there. But sometimes, you know, you have to just believe in what you think, and then, you know, you can always check facts and find out and learn together. Deborah Fraser says, hi, Elliot. Good evening to all. Good evening to you too. Vinnie Blair says, I think they know and prepare themselves to move down the ranks. Harry and Meghan Markle are prepared to move down when Prince William's children start attending events or marry. And of course, yes, when George and Charlotte and royal baby number 3 eventually have children, that will push Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, you know, way down the picking order. Gabriella says, I wondered if the Duke of Edinburgh is still in good health. Yes, because a few weeks ago we saw him, he was out carriage driving. So yes, he's in very good health. And I think he only missed the Commonwealth Day service because he saw that as part of his retirement. But I do believe he will be at Trooping the Colour. Dawn says, yes, Charlotte counts. Should something happen to others, God forbid, she will reign with a regent. Sandy says, do you think Harry and Meghan will release the wedding party like William and Catherine? Do you mean release who they are going to be? I don't think they will release until the day, actually. I mean, they could choose to release early, but I don't think so. I think we will probably see on the day. Expect to wait until the day with all these sorts of things, because otherwise you could end up very disappointed. So I think expect to go with knowing these things on the day, and then if you get anything else earlier, that's a bonus. Now I've totally lost where the comments section are, so I'm probably going to miss loads of your comments. Hang on just a second. Aha, I think I found it. Okay, hello to Joyce, by the way, who said hello to me. Nora says, is it true that Prince Charles does not want to live at Buckingham Palace when he becomes king? There are rumours. Nothing official, nothing confirmed, but there are rumours that he would like to stay at Clarence House, use St James's Palace as kind of like the official seat of the monarchy, which it is now anyway. Lots of people don't know that, but St James's Palace is the actual real seat and home of the monarchy. But of course, Clarence House is attached to that. So he would like to stay in Clarence House, we think, although nothing confirmed. And then he would still like to use Buckingham Palace kind of like an office for official business and state banquets and all the rest of it, and possibly open up the Mall to the public, pedestrianise it and close it to traffic. I don't know how that would work in terms of London traffic, probably a nightmare idea, a nightmare scenario for London, but we believe that's what the plans were that he was thinking about. I don't know what the sources were for that, so take it with a pinch of salt. Until we see any concrete evidence, it is just rumour. Ingrid says, I wonder if Kate or Catherine and Meghan Markle can ever go out shopping, or if they have to order all their clothes to be delivered. I would imagine they get sent samples and probably do lots of shopping through catalogue books. But they will have chance to go to proper stores, probably after closing time. They will probably, some stores will keep the stores open and they can go and shop with some degree of privacy, which is what Diana used to do too. H.A. Bracken says, all the royals except Her Majesty were dressed to coordinate. Some people said, was there a memo that went out? I don't think so. They may have chosen a colour theme, possibly. They did look to coordinate, but I think it was more of a happy accident. I don't think they do necessarily set colour themes or send out memos on what to wear, because on previous royal events, we've had people turning up, members of the royal family turn up in any old colour that completely clash. So I don't think a memo goes out. I think it just appeared that way because they ended up looking like they were coordinating. But I think it was more of a happy accident and a coincidence rather than pre-planned. Although, like I say, possibly a colour theme may have gone out, but again, we don't actually know. Melody says, I liked how Catherine and Meghan were colour coordinated. I mean, those two girls together may have had a little word. Who knows? Blossom Rose says, hello from the USVI. Love your show, very informative. Okay, now let me just go down a touch, not too far, or else I will lose all the chat comments. Vinny says, Meghan Markle is absolutely lovely to look at. She's a beautiful woman. Berets are a slow move into the hat fashion, kind of like a starter hat, I would agree. Although a fascinator may be more of a starter hat. It's strange if you are not used to it. Lily and Rose says, hello, and everyone in the realm of crowny talk. Mark Gable says, I think the Americans are going to be insufferable now. I'm sure they won't. Susan Sack says, we had an ice storm last night in Iowa. No signs of spring yet. We have snow in the UK, but nothing that stuck. But we do have showers of snow. Ingrid says, I don't like how they were colour coordinated. I think they should dress more original. Like I say, I don't think anything went out to coordinate them. I think it just happened that way. Sheila Campbell says, Charlotte has to be counted. If God forbid she inherits as an infant or minor, she would reign with Regent. Oh dear says, nice to have the comments on repeat. Once summer is here, it's hard to be here in the middle of the afternoon. Well, I would agree with you there. Of course, it's always nighttime for me in the UK when I do these chats. Annette says, I love Princess Anne's outfit from the 1980s. Yes, she has worn a near 40-year-old outfit and still fits in it. How good is that? I mean, who can fit into the clothes they had 40 years ago and look incredible? In fact, I think she probably looked better in it now than what she did when she first wore it. So Princess Anne, I'm going to name Queen of the recycled outfits because she really is remarkable. And if you look in the video I made about that, I put a comparison photo of when she first wore it and when she wears and how she is now. I see little difference. I mean, you probably can tell on a close-up of the face, but I see very little difference. She looked absolutely amazing. And of course, the outfit has proven to be a timeless classic because it didn't look out of place. It didn't look too 80s. It didn't look out of sorts. And she did look incredible. The first Mrs. R says the Duke of York looked very chipper and looked very smart at the Commonwealth service. He seemed almost like the Duke I fell in love with when I was in high school. And of course, that reference to when he was young and very, very, very handsome. Oh dear says, good on Princess Anne. I am not heavy, but couldn't fit into the outfit you wore in 1980. I'm sure I couldn't fit into an outfit from 10 years ago. Shirley Shipman Johnson says, can you please tell me why Princess Charlotte's children will not be prince or princess? I read this last week. It's just a technicality, don't worry. As of at the moment, of course, Princess Charlotte is too young to have children, but let's just imagine for a moment that we still have the Queen, we still have Charles, we still have William, and then Charlotte's got children of her own. Her children would not be automatically princes and princesses unless the monarch issued letters patent to say so. But it's very, very unlikely that the present Queen is going to be Queen when Princess Charlotte has children. So let's take out of the equation the Queen. When Princess Charlotte has children, there's a possibility that Prince Charles may be king, but it's more than likely it will probably be William as king. Who knows? But either way, as the daughter of a king, she would be entitled her children to be princes and princesses. But as the great-granddaughter of the monarch, she is not permitted to have her children princes and princess styles and titles. But like I say, once everyone moves up the line, her children will indeed, and George's children, of course, will be able to be princes and princesses once they are the children of a monarch. So once William ascends to the throne, George and Charlotte's children will be princes and princesses. Hope that makes sense. It is a little confusing, especially when people try and put out fake news to sensationalize things, which of course they do all the time. Susan Sack says 90 people are watching. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, give me a big old thumbs up if you are enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, give me a big thumbs down. But please give me a big thumbs up. It really does help. Ingrid says you were right. The trouser suit looks great on Meghan Markle. Hits her signature seemingly. Yes, I do think she will continue with the trouser suit or pantsuit, whichever you want to call it. Okay. Nina says, I have two sons, 4 years apart. So much competition between boys. Ingrid says, sometimes I see Harry puts his hand in his jacket so she doesn't clutch him. I think he's done that a lot. I mean, he's done the whole finger thing. If I can do it on mine, he kind of does that. And he's done that way before he even met Meghan. So I wouldn't read too much into that. Nina says, Ruth, she's in a strange country. I would cling too. I would just cling to Prince Harry in general. Why not? Wilfred Stacey says, good evening, coming from the US. Ingrid says, there's an interesting YouTube, Whitey, on body language, and they analyse the 4 of them. Don't forget, body language can sometimes be confusing. You can perceive body language sometimes differently. And of course, some people do put out different body languages to mean different things sometimes. Not everyone conforms to be able to read their body language. Candice says, I wonder what Meghan's wedding dress will look like. Any guesses? I'm thinking a little bit more... Oh, it's a tough one. I'm thinking sleek and possibly lacy. Sleek and lacy. But she could have in her head this dream of having a big, massive bouffant dress. Who knows? So she could surprise me. The safe option, I think, would be sleek and stylish and demure and lacy. But there could be a curveball. Don't rule out a curveball in the form of a big poofy dress. Who knows? Again, that is something we will have to wait and see. I kind of think she's going to go sleek and lacy, but I'm secretly hoping for a big bouffant dress. with a big, massive train and tiara. Holly Anderson says, good day. I so enjoy your show. It is so interesting and you're always so accurate with your information. Thank you. I do try. I do try to only put the facts out there. And of course, you know, if something isn't known, then I will say it's not known and you've got to wait until the correct time before it's announced officially to know. I definitely don't like to say something's going to happen if it's not. Vinnie Blair says, I looked outside my window and it is snowing heavily, but you're in Alberta, Canada. Oh dear says, looking forward to the wedding gown as well. Annette says, everyone is an individual. Some people are clingy for security. I think in the early days, she was possibly a little clingy for security, but I think she's grown with confidence now. And yes, Arnold, Harry is always hugging her. The first Mrs. R says, I wonder if Meghan wears berets as a way of differentiating herself from Catherine, since Catherine rocks are like no one else. I don't know. I think that's just her style. And of course, that may evolve as well with the role. And when she figures out what works and what doesn't work for different types of royal events. Oh dear says, Annette, she was on heels on those cobbles, and marble roads and floors can be tricky. They can indeed. So best beware if you are a royal and on those kind of surfaces. Ingrid says, Catherine and Meghan Markle have the exact same shoes on. To be honest, I haven't really noticed. I will go and have a look at that later. And yes, cobbles are a nightmare. Holly Anderson says, I am so thrilled Prince Harry and Meghan are so happy. A wonderful relationship to watch play out. Nina says, true, I don't know how they walk in those high heels. Nora says, I also like Princess Anne's look, very chic. James Med4 says, I think re-wearing outfits with different hats and accessories, or even having alterations made is great. These are expensive clothes and usually quite chic. Dawn says, I'm thinking Jamie may be out celebrating St. Patrick's Day in Ireland. That is a possibility. Annette thinks that Anne looks even better now. I agree too. She's certainly, but looking very much like the Queen as well, I must say. Arnold Sanders says, I am shocked at how many people are against public displays of affection. Let me know in the comment section what you think about that. Ken says, Charlotte's children would be royal even if she marries a commoner. Yes, they would. Susan says, never a thumbs down for me. You can give me what you like. Holly Anderson says, where is the thumbs up button? You deserve a full page. Perhaps it's on the screen you can see underneath the window, I think, possibly. First Mrs. R says, the Princess Royal looked fantastic while she's still in great shape. I suspect that the outfit has had tiny tweaks to fit her body as it's changed over the... a conspiracy theory that Princess Anne is tweaking her gowns. What do we think, my children? I don't know. It's very hard to tell. I mean, she could have had things left out, but going by the fact that she still has her incredibly slim figure, I'm thinking that it's in the same, it hasn't been altered and it's the same as it was. I've just got a feeling that she really looks after herself, and you know, you've never seen her out of shape. She always keeps herself fit and trim, and I suspect that that outfit has not been altered. But maybe as a conspiracy theory, she may be altering her dresses to make us think that she still has her schoolgirl figure. Yes, I'm not sure on that one, but I've got a feeling that she is the same size. James Med4 says, Prince Philip said recently something about his knees not being what they were. Yes, at near 97, your knees are not going to be like they were. And yet, of course, the Queen still looks very steady on her feet. I would agree there. Keonti Kent, I hope I've said that correctly, has given me lots of thumbs up and says, factual news, thank you. And I hope you're all still enjoying the news update videos I'm making, which include lots of different news stories in one video, which are very handy for me when there's lots going on and I can't keep up. Vinnie Blair says, yes, Prince Andrew was quite handsome. Can't wait to see him riding at Trooping the Colour. I'd hoped Prince Harry would be riding, but apparently not. Yes, Prince Andrew is practicing for Trooping the Colour. He's been seen on horseback, and he's trying to get in his horsey groove. Of course, he can ride horses. But he's not. He's one of the Queen's children that hasn't taken fully to horses. He's had experience with horses, but he has to practice for Trooping the Colour because it is such a set piece event, and of course, he will want to get that right. Nina says, I loved Harry's little eyebrow wiggle at Meghan. Yes, people after the Commonwealth Day service were tweeting and saying that Meghan was being so rude and disrespectful because she was laughing during the service. So I went straight away to review the footage. And when I looked at it, I thought, no, she's not being disrespectful. She's not being rude. There's probably some kind of little in-joke between the two, and something set them off. Either, the one looking at the other, or, just something. But I got the feeling it was an in-joke, and they kind of both just laughed. And Prince Harry was kind of trying to stagger his laugh. And I don't think it was being rude and disrespectful. I think it was just a moment between two people that had a shared in-joke. Let me know what you think. But I did make a video on that because of the amount of things that were going round about the fact that she was laughing and being disrespectful. I wanted to put it out there, kind of what it actually was, and people could see and make up their own minds. But that was my take on it. Let me know what your take was. Winfried, is it Winifred or Winfried? Winfried Stacey says the finger in the jacket is a soothing effect. It could be a bit of a comforter. I would agree there. And Holly Anderson's found the thumbs up. Liam Rose says the national anthem was a great moment. Will they also include it in the wedding service, as did William and Catherine, Edward and Sophie? Well, it's not so much included in the wedding service. It's what is customary when the Queen arrives. So if you've got the Queen at your wedding, then you're going to pretty much, if you're following protocol, you're going to have the national anthem sung. So yes, as the Queen is in attendance, the national anthem will be played. Norks Pebble says, will Princess Eugenie's kids have a title? No, I don't believe so, unless she marries somebody with a title. Winifred Stacey says, I expect sleek and figure hugging. She is making her mark as a new royal. Oh, going back up to will Princess Eugenie's kids have titles? To be honest, I have just had a temporary mind blip. So let's do a little Google check. I think it's a no for grandkids of the monarch having children. But let's see if we can Google it and see. So, Princess Eugenie children titles. Let's check. I think it's a no, but let's just check. Okay, I'm just checking. No, I don't believe they will. I think I was right in the first instance. Always check or go with your instincts, I do believe. Your gut feeling, always go with. James Med 4 says, I think the clinging is endearing. I'm hoping for a long, long train on Meghan's dress. She might try and outdo Diana with the train. Who knows? Let's go up because I've missed a few questions. Vinny Blair says, no, she won't be going poofy because she's so petite. I think it will be ethereal and sparkly, very fairy-like. Holly Anderson says, I'm betting on something quite beautiful by Ralph and Russo. I think Meghan loves their designs. Well, I kind of also, I think she will go very sleek and ethereal and quite fairy-like. But I'm kind of hoping for a big poofy number. Ned Green says, absolutely love the tiara. Thank you. Lillian Rose says, I'm looking forward to the moment when the bride ascends the steps at St George's Chapel. It will definitely be a moment. The first Mrs R says, the Harry hand thing is an old trick. It's self-soothing and gives you something to do with your hands when you don't have a podium to place them on. Winfred, rather. I keep trying to say Winifred. Winfred says, Princess Anne is very happy these days. She does look like Elizabeth II. As she ages, the similarity just gets more and more and more. Nora says, I hope that James Brooksbank is given an earldom upon his marriage to Eugenie. I hope so too, but I don't think it's going to happen. But let's all be shocked if it does. Ingrid says, I think holding hands in public is fine, even for the royals, but not all the time. Ken says, how could Charlotte's children be royal? Anne's aren't. Doesn't status follow the status of the father, except the sovereign? It's all because of who your father is within the royal family. Because let's not forget, Princess Anne is the daughter of a monarch. Andrew, Edward, Charles are the sons of a monarch. So their children get the titles. Princess Anne's aren't automatically because she's female. Outdated and sexist, yes. But Princess Anne was offered, the Queen did offer for her children to have titles, and Princess Anne refused. So that didn't happen. But I don't think that would happen now, in particular because the line of succession has changed so that males born after females no longer supplant them in the line. So I think when it got to that point, when it gets to it in the future, I don't think that will be the case anymore. But I think that will have to be got to as and when it happens. But I don't think we'll see that we won't see it until Charlotte has children. But we will have to wait and see. James Med4 says, Princess Diana, as fiancée to Charles, was invited to Trooping the Colour and a wedding with the Queen Mum and Princess Margaret. There is precedence for a fiancée being included. There are instances, of course, Meghan's case is not an isolated case. There have been things, but not for an incredible long time. And in particular, with a kind of, definitely the Commonwealth Day is one of those huge set piece events. I mean, I would agree Trooping the Colour is another one of those huge set piece events. But of course, Diana was marrying the heir to the throne. And so there was slightly different, Prince Charles's status was higher then than Harry's is now. And of course, it presented the opportunity for people to get a good look at Diana too. But definitely not an isolated case. The first Mrs. R says, of course, Princess Anne looks great. A younger man will do that. Ingrid says, Zara Tyndall looks radiant, and how nice a cousin of the same age for Meghan Markle and Catherine. Yes, and of course, she's been attending lots of horsey events at the Cheltenham horse racing events this week and looking amazing, looking blossoming, in fact. I mean, she really does carry her pregnancy well. Ingrid says, I'd love to see some footage on your channel about the royals going to church. The reason why you haven't is because there isn't any. Because when the royals go to church, it's a private event. The only time we will see them going to church is possibly at Sandringham, when they're going to the church. At Christmas, when you see them all walking up to the church, we will see it then. Possibly at Balmoral, when we see them arriving. But any other time, it's a private event. Sometimes we do see the Queen driving her car when she's at Windsor Castle. But in terms of having any access to a private occasion, such as when they go to church, it's few and far between. I mean, the odd snippet that we get, like I say, it's very few and far between. We may get the odd photograph, but footage is even rarer. But if I do get any, of course, I will include it. Odia says, Andrew, yes, practice. You need to bounce up at the right time. I'm sure he's very good at his bouncing. Angel says, I like Kate or Catherine. And yes, her baby bump does look really, really good. Nina says Harry made her laugh. It was his fault. Joe Bob says, hello everyone from Shanghai. And going back to the Meghan Markle laugh, I mean, actually, why is it so bad to have fun at these sorts of events? I mean, you know, yes, if you're doing something completely disrespectful, I would agree, don't do it. But to smile, to laugh, to, you know, interact with the person next to you, I don't think that is forbidden or indeed wrong. Holly Anderson says, I completely agree with you about Meghan's at church, her giggle at church. We have all been in her shoes. Ingrid says, I wonder if Harry will invite his ex-girlfriends to the wedding. For example, Chelsea Davy. Well, I'm sure he wouldn't mind. I don't think he has any issues or problems with his exes. But I don't necessarily think it would be appropriate. Well, I wouldn't like it, I don't think, if I was Meghan, to have my fiancé's, my new husband's exes at my wedding. So it's probably not appropriate. But then again, Meghan may be completely comfortable with it. Again, that is one of the things we will have to wait and see on the actual day. Yes, Sheila, Anne did refuse it for her children. James Medford says Kate's outfit for the Irish Guards was smashing in green. Well, of course, she always wears green on those events. I think she has worn the same coat several times too. And she does always look amazing. And of course, her pregnancy bump, she is blossoming, and in her face, all the smiley photographs that have come back and the footage, she does look glowing and radiant. Joe Bob says it's 6:41 in the morning where you are, and it's Sunday morning. Well, it's still Saturday where I am in the UK. Arnold Sanders says Catherine looked her best when she was pregnant with George and christened that ship. Yes, when she launched, was it the what was it? The Princess, the Royal Princess. I think it was Princess Cruises Royal Princess, or was it the Regal Princess? Royal Princess. It was a Royal Princess, and she did look really good. Ken says grandchildren are in the royal line, but great grandchildren wouldn't be. So there you go. Oh dear says, Ingrid, apparently he's inviting a couple of old girlfriends, unless I caught fake news. Could be fake news. I don't think anything's been released on that. I mean, certainly no guest list has been released yet. So I'm thinking that is fake news. Okay, hang on a minute. I'm just going up because I've missed a few questions. Okay, Annette says smashing 1940 style for the Irish Guard. I think I've just read that one, haven't I? I think I have. Lady Buckingham Dawn says if Camilla can get away with laughing the way she did here in Canada at our Indigenous, so I remember the one, Meghan can have a snicker. Yes. Again, I think the Camilla laugh, something tickled her. And of course, when you're two people and you're very, very close and you know that something is going to tickle their funny bone, it can set you both off. Whether she should have let herself go that way or that far, I don't know. But certainly looking at Camilla and Charles's laughing together, kind of, you know, let's forget where they were, just set that aside for a moment. It showed the closeness of their relationship and how kind of interlinked and entwined they are, with also their sense of humor as well. So it was very revealing, and it kind of offered an intimate look into their relationship and how they interact with each other. So on that level, it was very interesting. And the same, I think, for Meghan and Harry. It does kind of strip back a few layers and you get to see something very real of them. But whether they should have done it at that particular occasion remains to be seen. Melody says, I think we can expect more candid moments between Harry and Meghan. They have their own couple style, which is kind of what I was just saying. And yes, it is fun to see. Ned says it will be very gorgeous no matter what she wears. I would agree there too. Joy says Her Majesty the Queen offered to make Sarah? Don't you mean Zara a princess? But Princess Anne refused it as well. Yes. Basically, you know, if something's offered, you don't have to accept it. Definitely not. Lady Louise Windsor is actually technically entitled to be a princess, and so is her brother James Viscount Severn. But again, you know, Prince Edward and Sophie said no. But who knows, when the children get older themselves, they may decide that they wish to take up their birthright. Ingrid thinks that Meghan Markle will wear a gorgeous Cinderella dress. Ingrid says it must get very confusing for the Queen to keep all the titles straight and who to give what title to. Well, that's why there is set protocols. But like I say, she can issue letters patent to change and kind of amend it and do what she wants. Angel says whatever name she wants to name the baby should be she should be very proud of. I agree there too. James Med4 says, I think it's sexist for a female not to inherit her father's dukedom. For example, Princess Beatrice should inherit it if the firstborn child of a monarch, regardless of sex, inherits the crown. Yes, but don't forget the new rule applied from George onwards. So going back up, it's ineffectual. So Beatrice and Eugenie are still under the old rules before it changed. Or else literally you are going up the line and backdating things, which could be done, but it's not. That's not the way it's done. So yes, it is very sexist because the system was sexist, but it has been changed, at least from George onwards. Norks Pebble says, will Harry's children have a title? Yes, they will have whatever title he is given. So if he's a dukedom, then they will be styled the titles and styles of a duke. But once Charles is king, once his father becomes king, they will be entitled to be princes or princesses because Harry is of the male line. Angel says, talk about Catherine Middleton. How come she wasn't wearing a ring on his hand? I'm not sure when you're talking about. Do you mean when they were engaged or do you mean now? I haven't noticed a ring. Joe Bob says, just joined when I heard the conversation about when Prince Harry made a gesture to Meghan and she reacted by laughing. That's Harry being Harry. Thought it was cute and not disrespectful. I agree there too. Oh dear says, I think dukedoms are granted by the Queen, not inherited. Yes, they are granted to suit the royal that they are intended for. And of course, there are so many that are vacant. They can be created, such as the Dukedom of Windsor. That wasn't in existence previously. That was created. So we could find Harry with something completely created. Maybe the Duke of Sherwood. He's done lots in that area. Who knows? But more than likely, the Dukedom of Sussex has been reserved for Harry. Ken says dukedoms once granted are inherited unless they return to the crown. The only way they return to the crown is if they can't be inherited, either through the female line, as was, although, you know, maybe something will have to be provided or some sort of provision put in place in case it does happen now, since all the rule changes, but that will have to be dealt with at the time, although I do think something should be thought of beforehand. But yes, previously, if they were not inherited, they would just return to the crown. Jay's Med4 says, I just realised your bow tie is the Union Jack. It's wonderful. Thank you. It's new, and I was waiting for a certain person to be in the room before I mentioned it, but I will mention it now anyway. So I actually have a video coming of me opening and unboxing this bow tie. It's very special. If you can have a little look, I'm hoping you can see that. It's the Union Jack bow tie, and it's actually from my Amazon wish list. And Betsy, who is normally in the chat room, Betsy bought it for me from my Amazon wish list, so that the wish list definitely works. It's amazing. I mean, even though I knew what was on the wish list, I didn't know what she bought. So it was still a real surprise unboxing what it was, because to be honest, I just chucked a load of things on the wish list, things that I could open and review for this channel. So Betsy chose this, and it was the Union Jack bow tie, and it's incredibly well made. And I have done a video about it, and I will upload it either tomorrow or in the coming week. But do look out for the video of me unboxing this, because I had no idea really what it was. So thank you, a big thank you to Betsy for buying this from the wish list. And the wish list works, by the way. So there you go. Thank you. And if you want to go on the wish list, if you want anything reviewed on there, then the link is in the description of this video once it goes live on the chat. So a big thank you to Betsy. And now I need to scroll down. And scroll down some more, because I didn't go far enough. Joe Bob says, by the way, Meghan looked gorgeous with the white ensemble during the Commonwealth service. Breathtaking. Marilyn says, I think Meghan Markle is included in events because she has moved to London and left her career. It would be odd to have her live with Harry and be left at home. I completely agree with that too. Christine says, I thought dukedoms were inherited. They are, unless they return to the crown. Nina says, has anyone noticed Camilla didn't look well in the church pictures? She looked tired. I hadn't noticed, to be perfectly honest. I thought she looked okay, but I will take a closer look. Ingrid says, I wonder if the royals ever attend Westminster Abbey on a Sunday. They don't usually. They usually go to the church that they are nearest, wherever they are over the weekend. With the Queen, it's usually Windsor or Sandringham, unless, of course, it's up in Balmoral when it's Balmoral. Sometimes the Chapel Royal, possibly, if she's in Buckingham Palace at the time, which she doesn't really now for weekends. So it's usually at the weekends Windsor, unless she's at Sandringham or Balmoral. Arnold says, when Philip goes, who will do the barbecues? Oh, I think Harry. I can see Harry as the barbecue king. It's only me watching says the dukedoms are by royal blood only, unless conferred. And Joe Bob says she's from Shanghai in Canada. Shanghai in Canada? Shanghai in China. I do know that Shanghai is in China. Ingrid said, Camilla is 70 and has weathered skin. This can make you look tired. Poor Camilla. And I've missed quite a few questions again. Hang on. Let's go back. First Mrs. R says, I think Jack will get a title of some type, but not until he and Eugenie have been married for a few years and have children. He'll have to prove himself a bit. Again, that's something we will have to wait for. Vinnie Blair says, we don't know that Meghan Markle made a sound in church. I think she just smiled. If you looked at the prince's face beside her, he didn't notice. I mean, lots of people interpret that in different ways. Duchess of Cambridge says, what about Catherine's baby bump? I think that the baby is a boy. I'm hoping for a boy, but who knows? I'm hoping for a boy, and if a boy, I'm hoping for Arthur as a name. Sheila says there are some non-royal dukedoms that are inherited, but daughters still in this country can't inherit. Like, for example, the Duke of Norfolk, which is a non-royal dukedom. The first Mrs. R says, didn't Camilla and his new wife come to Charles and Camilla's wedding? Yes, I think they did. I think you are correct. But of course, that would be invitation only. And of course, fully sanctioned by Charles and Camilla, who would have been in full agreement with that. So basically, it's You know, whatever you're comfortable with, it's your wedding. You do what you want. Vinny says that Catherine has put on more weight with his pregnancy. She looks lovely, however. I would agree there too. The first Mrs. R says Catherine looked a little nervous, petting Domhall. Now, I think it's pronounced Domhall, and of course that was the Irish wolfhound mascot. And yes, he is indeed huge, very huge. But he looks really a kind dog, I think, very placid. Duchess of Cambridge says, Elliot, this question is for you. Do you think that the Queen will let William and Catherine let them have the throne of the UK? No, not until their time. It will be Charles and Camilla first, and then it will be William and Catherine. Joe Bob says, Duchess of Cambridge, I agree. Catherine's going to have a boy, maybe twins. And Angel is praying to meet the royals. The first Mrs. R says, Sheila Campbell, a couple of royal titles can be inherited by a daughter. The Earldom of Burma is one that Louis Mountbatten held, who it was created for, but he didn't have any sons. Yes, some exceptions can be made if decreed on an individual basis. Gabriella says, if Camilla and Charles, after what they did to Princess Diana, were not close, let's shut the store and leave. Duchess of Cambridge says, if Harry and Meghan have a child, which would be their title? If Harry, well, I mean, obviously, eventually they will be princes or princesses, but let's say Harry gets the dukedom of Sussex, then his children would be lords or ladies, very much in the same way that the Earl of Wessex's children are Lady Louise Windsor or James Viscount Severn. Now, Viscount Severn is a subsidiary title of Edward's. So whether if Harry and Meghan had a son, whether he would also get maybe referred to as one of the secondary styles and titles of Harry's remains to be known, but definitely Lord or Lady. But like I say, once Charles ascends to the throne, those children would automatically be princes and princesses of, if it was Sussex, it would be Prince or Princess of Sussex. Let's have a look. Ingrid says, do you post videos even on weekdays before or after work? I post videos every day, usually after work. But if something occurs in the night, I will try and cram one in before work. But that's very, very difficult, but it's usually after work. Marilyn says, I've always thought Princess Anne was the smartest of the Queen's children. She has left her children the most options related to careers and making money. I think Prince Andrew should have done the same. There is some truth to your theory, because obviously Princess Eugenie and Beatrice kind of are in that weird, odd position where they kind of are on the peripheral of royal, but yet they are the UK's blood princesses. So yes, I think Princess Anne did kind of choose quite smartly and wisely. Sheila says the 21st century generation will not be accepting of an unemotional royal family. They will honour them nonetheless. With this generation in the character and their service, that will matter. Joe Bob says, I like your bow tie. And Odear says, love the bow tie. Does it light up and twirl around? No, but it is quite fancy. It really is. Debbie Deb says, it's nice to see you. I look forward to your live chat every weekend from New York. Betsy is from New York too. Gabriella says, I agree, but in that case, both children were happy with that option. Debbie Deb says, I want to meet Harry and Meghan so bad. Jamie is in, and and he says it's pronounced Donal with an Irish accent. Donal. Donal, Donal. That's a terrible Irish accent. I apologise profusely. And yes, happy St. Patrick's Day to Jamie. And I would also, now that Jamie is here, would like to say a big, 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 big thank you for all the weeks that he moderates, because I'm sure those of you who were around before we had Jamie moderating will know that things in the chat room have definitely improved since we've had Jamie, giving up often, his Saturday nights, giving up going out with friends sometimes, to do these live chats for me and for us. So a big, big thank you to you, Jamie. Marilyn says, I'm looking forward to King Charles and Queen Camilla. Camilla always looks like she is such fun, and you would want to sit in the corner sipping gin with her, almost like a favourite. I agree. And Princess Michael of Kent. Florfin Kaiser says, hello, and hello to you too. My green sash is appropriate for today. It is indeed. It is intentional. And Ireland was once part of the empire until independence in 1922. And I'm not going to try and read what Jamie, but Shona Lafille Peldraig, I can't even do that. Vinnie Blair says, well, the Queen should not be like a favourite auntie. You sit in a corner and have shots with Camilla. Camilla will need to up her game as Queen, or she will be even more disrespected. Sheila says, non-royal dukedoms can't be inherited by daughters. Royal dukedoms can. You're kind of half right, because don't forget that the reason why the Burma title was passed on was because it was allowed by the Queen issuing letters patent. Whether she would get involved with non-royal dukedoms remains to be seen. They would probably just revert back to the crown. So although it's not official, either way it's not official, but the one is probably going to be favoured more than the other in having it sorted out by letters patent. Flothin Kaiser says, great to see the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge wear shamrock today. There are many Irish titles still used. Wonder how many were returned to the crown after independence. I cannot enlighten you on that one. Smelly Feet says, Donald Trump has had a heart attack. Turn on the news. I would imagine that's fake news. Robot Lee says, what did I have for breakfast? I got up too late for breakfast, so I had dinner of fish and chips. Yule Nard says, I think Meghan's personality matches Harry's perfectly, and Catherine's matches William's perfectly as well. Well, that's good, because they're partners and about to be married, in Meghan and Harry's case. Duchess of Cambridge says, do I think that Catherine will meet Donald Trump? If he's on an official state visit, then yes. Jamie says, thanks to me and everyone. You are more than welcome. Arnold Sanders says, I wish we could like some of the comments. That would be a really good feature, one that I'm not in control of. But maybe Hangouts on Air will update a version in the future. I don't know. Elaine says, did Camilla have a title prior to marriage? No, other than Mrs. Parker Bowles. Jamie says, all Irish titles are still there, but not used anymore. I would use one if I had one. And yes, it's fake news about Trump. I thought so. Jamie says, I bought a return bus ticket going into town earlier and didn't realise what the day would bring. How wrong I was. Okay, I think I finally got to the bottom of the chat room. I have. Well, hey. Duchess of Cambridge says, what about Kate's birthday? Well, yes, that was kind of leaked a bit last week. And if I remember correctly, we think it's the 23rd of April, which is St. George's Day, with a possible, couple of days early, couple of days late. So it's going to be round about that kind of date. And I think I've already answered what I ate for breakfast. A pregnant beaver. Marilyn Blythe says, I sent you a souvenir to review. According to Amazon, you should get it this week. Let me show you something. So I opened Betsy's bow tie, which I'm going to make a video on. And Marilyn, thank you. So I didn't know it was you. I don't get any information on who sends me these things until I open them. So I've got this through the door, which is a parcel slip. So when they tried to deliver this parcel, I was out. I was actually at work. So I've got to pop to the post office tomorrow, but I will also check my PO box, and I will collect it tomorrow. So I will film an opening and upload it in the week. So thank you so much. I can't believe the wish list is working so well. You know, people seem to be really getting into it, and of course, you know, I will be putting up these videos of me unboxing them, reacting to them, you know, using them or looking at them, wearing them, showing them off. And like I said, I may even do some random giveaways. Who knows? And there are lots of Meghan and Harry memorabilia for the wedding. There are things that I would like to wear for the live chats. There are crazy things like life-size cutouts of royals. There is a rubber queen mask. There are cups. There's a bookmark. There's all kinds of things I've even forgot. So if you want to see me open, review, possibly even give away some of these things, then my Amazon wishlist details will be in the description of this live chat. So thank you so much, Marilyn, and thank you to Betsy for the bow tie. I love it. And actually, it's really good quality too. Jamie likes the title, The Earl of Athlone. Athlone. It sounds good. I'd like one created for me, the Duke of Shropshire. I think Robot Lee needs to go home. Ingrid says, what did I have for dinner today? Fish and chips for dinner today with my nan. Gabriella says, in St. George in Catalonia, we celebrate with roses and books. So I also will celebrate the Duchess of Cambridge's birthday. Jamie says, or an Order of St. Patrick, the Irish equivalent, a Knight of the Garter or Order of the Thistle. But there are, of the Thiel, there are none issued. Jamie says the last one was held by the former Duke of Gloucester in 1972. I am not going to question you because I don't know the answer on that one. I would have to Google and check. So we'll believe you on that one. Duchess of Cambridge says, do you think Pippa will attend Harry and Meghan's wedding? Yes, I do. And yes, we do get People magazine in the UK, but probably our version's different. Jamie says, have you ever heard of the Irish crown jewels? When Ireland gained independent, they were stolen from Dublin Castle and have never been seen since. I have them in my vault. No, I have no idea where they are. Wouldn't it be amazing to find them? Wow. I need to make a whole vlog series trying to find these stolen crown jewels or these lost crown jewels. Sweet Pea says, when do I think the Duchess of Cambridge will receive the Queen's order? Soon, I hope. I think she's waited long enough, and you know, 3 children almost down the line. You know, is it what, 7 years of marriage, 6 or 7 years of marriage? I think it's about time she got it. So I think it will be soon, sooner rather than later. But again, that's something we're not privy to. We will have to wait. Jamie also likes the Earl of Eglinton. I can pronounce that one. And Ingrid says, Meghan Markle is on the cover of People magazine. And yes, happy St. Patrick's Day to one and all. Flofinkaiser says, Lord Lucan, Lord Longford, Countess of Athlone, Duke of Connaught, Lord Kenmure are all still Irish titles, and ones that I can't pronounce, in use, and place names in Ireland together with various royal societies still operational in Dublin. Well, if I was heir to one of those titles, I would definitely claim it. Jamie's quoting, I have them in my vault. I do, I have them in my vault. Just waiting to be worn. Oh dear says, gotta run. Dinner and a theatre tonight. Have a good week, everyone. Bye, Elliot. Until next time. Good night to you. Ingrid says, no, I have them in my vault. Marilyn says, yes, that delivery was from me. I just checked my Amazon account and they did try to deliver. Glad it worked as I live in the US. Well, again, thank you so much. But yes, this is what we get in the UK. If we miss a parcel, we get one of these little slips through the door, and I can go to my local sorting office and I can collect it, which I'm going to do tomorrow. So it just says number of items 1. It's too large for my letterbox. And oh my goodness, I've only just noticed something. The delivery lady has put her name, and her name is Foxy. Look, Foxy. Foxy lady. Wow. I've had a foxy lady at my door. And yes, Lord Lucan was the one who disappeared after murdering the nanny. And who inherited the title? His son. His son did indeed inherit. Once he was formally proclaimed dead. Jamie says, pronounce Donal like Domnal. Domnal. Domnal? I can't do that. Domnal. Probably not right. Duchess of Cambridge says, why Meghan doesn't have an Instagram anymore? Because she's nearly royal. And they don't have personal private ones. Prince Andrew and Princess Eugenie have got an official one, but it's not, it will have been sanctioned. And of course, Princess Eugenie, because she's not a working royal, she does have, I think Beatrice has got a Twitter called Yorkie B. I haven't looked at Princess Eugenie's Instagram, but because she's not a working member of the family, there will be no rules as to why she can't have one. But I very much doubt she'll be putting anything that's completely radical out there. Sarah, the Duchess of York, Twitter is quite strange in a way that she does put lots of different, very sort of, I don't know, she puts lots of slogan things out, lots of photographs with slogans and words, and again, she's free to do that. But Meghan Markle, as a working member of the royal family, will not be expected to have her own private Instagram unless they feel the need for it later. So, of course, she's got rid of her own personal one for all her personal photos and all that kind of thing that's unconnected to the role. If she does have one, it will be very royal based and very much focusing on the work and causes rather than private things. Of course, they may Instagram and tweet things like birthday photographs and commemorative things and anything that they want to put out there that's okay and safe to do so. But in terms of it being their own private account, it will not be in the same way as it was before for Meghan. The first Mrs. R says Queen Mary, Queen Elizabeth II's grandmother, probably took the Irish crown jewels. Why not? She took every other bauble she could. Who knows? Queen Mary may have taken them. No, I have no idea where they are. It would be very interesting. Maybe they've already been refashioned into other pieces of jewellery that are out there somewhere. Jamie says, you're from Connaught. You could claim that title, the Duke of Connaught. You could indeed. And yes, hit the like button. And no, I haven't seen Versailles on Netflix. Again, it's something that I really want to watch. Jamie says, yes, you pronounced Athlone perfectly, and Donal close enough. I probably said Athlone wrong now. Ingrid says it's a mini series, of course, Versailles, and it's excellent. Well, I will put it on my watch list. And yes, I agree, Jamie. Sarah's Twitter is quite cringy. Gabriella is off, so good night to you. And Pam says she always looks forward to my videos. Thank you for watching. Sweet Pea says, do I think Andrew and Sarah should remarry? Personally, I think yes, because have they ever really been apart? But I think that Sarah thinks that she can probably make more money and have freedom by staying outside of the royal family. But I think she'd actually find that although the trade-off may be that she does more royal engagements and that kind of thing, I actually think she'd be more secure in the fold than outside of the fold. But that's my own opinion. But yes, I would like to see them remarry. And no, I haven't worn my tiara in public, although it would be quite interesting to wear to the supermarket. Candice says, according to my research, I like the fact you've done research. Catherine has waited longer than any other female in the royal family to receive the Queen's order. I have to wonder why. Well, I can't confirm or deny if it's the longest because I haven't done any research myself on that. Maybe I should. Maybe you could share your research. Tweet at me. But yeah, she has waited a long time. I do think it's time for her to receive it. I don't think there's any skullduggery in it. I don't think it's because the Queen doesn't favour Catherine or anything like that. I really don't. I think it's just because they just haven't got round to it. I don't know why, because Catherine goes to state banquets and all that kind of thing. So it would be appropriate to have one to wear to those occasions, which is why I think it's going to be soon. And I'm going to have a real stab in the dark and say that I think it will be this year. Any longer, and I have to say, I think I will start to wonder why she hasn't got one yet. So I'm thinking, I'm plumbing for definitely this year. I've got a feeling in my waters that it's imminent. And I'm thinking possibly in the summer or early September. I have nothing to base that on. It is just a feeling. But again, we will wait and see. Let's wait till September and I will see if I'm right or not. And if no family order by September, I will start to question and wonder why. So Joseph Cambridge says, it will be amazing if Catherine had an Instagram. It would indeed. But like I say, it wouldn't be like a private Instagram. It would be a very public one focused on the work. And Jamie says, Connaught is pronounced Connacht. So the Duke of Connacht. Vinny Blair says, Meghan Markle could have a private Instagram like within the family. Sometimes I think they do, especially if they're encrypted. Mike Tyndall did say they have a private family group chat, so they could have a family-only Instagram. I think the group chat was WhatsApp, possibly. And Dawn is back. Welcome back. Jamie says, fun fact, if Ireland was still part of the UK, the Duke of Connacht would probably be William. Yes, that would have been one that he could have drawn from. Floating Kaiser says, my wish list for Amazon are box sets of Royal Reviewer and Talk of the Crown. Hope they will be available soon. Who knows? I would like to get some merch, though. Let me know in the comment section below what you would like Royal Reviewer merchandise to be. T-shirts, mugs, bookmarks, let me know. Diana says, what is the Queen's order we are waiting for Catherine to receive? It's the little bow that looks a little bit like this with a kind of like a cameo brooch with a kind of like a miniature portrait of the Queen. You've probably seen it, and they're usually surrounded by diamonds. And it's just, the Queen has one of her father as well, and also her grandfather as well. So she has two. But most of the royals currently have one of the Queen. But Catherine still is yet to be gifted one. And yes, maybe Catherine will get it when the new baby comes, or just slightly after. Dawn says, how do we know she doesn't have the order now, but has not had any place to wear it? Well, you're quite right. We don't know. She may have had it now and is just waiting for the for the time to wear it. And no, it's certainly not announced. We will see it when we see it. So yes, you're quite right. She may well have it now, but I'm giving it till September. And good night to the Duchess of Cambridge. Pam Farrell would like a T-shirt, and Christine would like mugs. And Jamie says yes, a mug, so you can drink tea while you're watching. And yes, you can like the comments after I'm done with this vlog. Now, let me see if I've missed anything out today. Yes, so the Queen has officially sanctioned, given her consent, her royal assent, in a Privy Council meeting for Henry to marry Rachel. Now, if you've been watching my live chats or Talk of the Crown for over a year and a half now, ever since, well, actually, no, not over a year and a half, ever since the engagement announcement, I have always said that we would see a Henry marrying a Rachel because that is their legal names. And I think I've just been proved right, because the Queen in an official document has referred to them as Prince Henry and Rachel. So I think when we get to the vows in the church service, we will definitely see a Henry marrying a Rachel. And I think we can safely say that the Queen has confirmed that for us this week. So thank you so much, Queen, for proving me right. I don't just talk a load of nonsense. Meghan, oh yes, Meghan. Wow, it's come to knowledge. It's come to light, I should say, that she's undertaken SAS training in case of kidnap. So she's been put through her paces. She's had to do a mock kidnap. So she simulated a mock kidnap, and it won't have been nice. It won't have been friendly. Prince Harry was there to help her. It said that she would have been scared. We don't know if she was actually scared, but the army people that do this, the SAS, have said that it's designed to terrify you, to put you in that real life situation so that you know how to behave, what to do, how to react, how to respond in that sort of event to keep you the safest. So Meghan has undergone the highest of training that we offer. So I think that's really good to know, that she has had that level of training. Lady Louise Windsor was out carriage driving as well, so still showing that she's taking a great interest in the sport, and of course, which I'm sure delights Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. And Prince Harry attended the Mountbatten Festival of Music. Now, I am going to leave tonight's chat here. I think we've all had a really fabulous chat, and I can't wait for next week. So if you have enjoyed this chat, please give me a big old thumbs up. Not a thumbs down, a big old thumbs up. Like and share on social media too. That really does help. And also leave a comment in the comment section about anything that you want. So from me in Shropshire, until next week, 10 o'clock GMT, that's British time, every Saturday, from me with Talk of the Crown, episode 2, in Shropshire. Goodbye.